So, we've made it to the end of the week. As you can see, our warehouse has not moved on. We've had a very tumultuous time to get to here. And I thought I would do a very quick summary video of don't shoot yourself in the nuts. So if you've got a cup of tea and some biscuits, just get them. It's going to be a couple of minutes long, and there won't be any graphic images of this, but it's an incident that came to my attention, funnily enough, on my LinkedIn page, where I don't normally see this sort of stuff. And so let's just share that thing that happened. So an American content creator, apparently we are content creators now as film armourers and live events people, and we put stuff on YouTube for people to view and judge. So this chap was making some content of a appendix carry holster, which is sort of a plastic tray that sits inside your waistband, into which you can put all manner of stuff. And it kind of, it doesn't show up, so it's a concealed carry piece of equipment, you know. So this chap was demonstrating it or practicing or whatever. The details are a little bit scant. You can look up him, once I put him there, I won't name the chap. He had a firearm inside this appendix holster, which he tried to get out. He never got this far, did he? So he went boom and shot himself through his penis, and the bullet, sizable bullet, exited that and then took off his left testicle. And all I was thinking at the time was, don't laugh. And then, oof, that must have really hurt, because obviously there's hot gases coming out of there as well, and your pride and joy is all blown to bits now by doing something that is really careless and stupid. So the summary is pretty straightforward. Don't shoot yourself in the nuts in more ways than one. As film armourers, we have to, we are responsible for the actors' safety, the supporting cast's safety, the technical crew that can be standing quite close to it. So it's kind of a controversial topic. It doesn't happen very often that we have incidents on film sets. I have been made aware of them in the past where things have gone wrong. That's probably a separate sit-down video. We're going to have more space, and I'll bring another person in to act as a foil to some of the things that I'll say. Anyway, so what do you need as a production person? What do you need to consider is important to your filming day and schedule? And what also comes into is the accessories. It's not just, oh yeah, we've got this amount of script and text to get through, we need angles to get all of these shots done, yeah, great. And then, yeah, the gun comes out, bam, and we're off. It doesn't really work like that, because there's a lot of accessories that go along with the whole firearms process. And this video is going to be very, very quick and cover that. So, old school holster. This one is surprisingly enough a left-handed one, which would sit quite high on your belt line. It has a retention buckle, so it holds the firearm in. So if you were inadvertently tipped upside down, happens to me all the time, the gun doesn't fall out. You know, I walk along the street, I do some roly-polies. You know, if I didn't have a safety buckle, a safety catch, man, that gun would fall out and roll down the street. Bum. That's really bad. Or you could have a more sort of an old school holster. Again, this is very simple. These are designs that are 30, 40 years old. Leather. The gun is retained in it, and because it's a very snug fit, it doesn't fall out. Again, it would sit high on the waistline and would be relatively concealable, because it's kind of narrow anyway, and this would sit sort of over your hip, slightly rounded, and it would hide the print of this firearm, would be disguised by your general shape. And recently in modern productions, or more modern productions, we've gone more in the direction of plastic molded holsters, which the firearm sits inside. Obviously there's nothing in it, so it's an airsoft. It has a level of retention. This is the bit that the sound department will start screaming out. The gun comes out quite easily, but on reholstering, these are noisy, and plastic is noisy. It's not an organic thing. They fit nicely and they're very good, for reholstering, but they sit proud. The firearm sticks out and gives you this funny bulge that production designers on the whole don't like. I don't like it because it looks unnatural, and also because it sticks out of you. Try getting in and out of a car. Try getting in and out of a car with a thing that's probably another 2 inches and lumpy sticking out of you. It's very difficult. And we have to kind of consider that because a lot of the time no one pays any attention to these things, and now you have a person who we've trained. We've had our 20 minutes of glory time with the talent. And I sort of say, right, this is your belt. We've kind of sized it all up. Click, click, click. Yep, that's lovely. We put a blue gun in usually to start with, so they just have a little idea of walking around with a blue safety prop. It doesn't do anything. It's not really a gun. And they can, oh yeah, and they'll sit in the car, and then they can't physically get out because they're stuck. And then they start complaining, it poked me in my side, blah, 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 I can't remember my lines. And then the whole day starts falling apart. And then we usually cheat and just take the stuff off. They get in and out of the car, they deliver their lines as requested. And then we cut, put the stuff back on, and then they bring the gun out for the action sequence, if that's how the story flows. Or you can go even more old school. I'm going to make a lot of rattling noise myself now because I've laid everything out badly. You can have very kind of an old school kind of concealed carry rig, which is a very strong belt, and then a very simple, again, leather cup that disguises the shape of the firearm into which the pistol will sit, with additional magazines, because sometimes fight sequences take quite a lot longer to develop. And it's all about the mag changes. Or still, further down the other line, you could have a very kind of military style holster. Again, this sits very, very proud of the shooter, has a degree of retention, so there's a catch, and then the firearm draws out. But because this is a nylon arrangement, it's not so rattly. It just upsets the sound department. It means that in post someone has to sit there and kind of fiddle the levels to kind of bring the sound under control and make it legal, if that makes sense. So these are quite good, and then obviously you can see there's a sort of a weapons retention kind of device. So we don't actually have an appendix carry holster, so I'm going to have to go out now and buy one, so we can do a better demonstration of what I believe went wrong. If you get the opportunity to find this person who's managed to do this, the story itself is a great read. It is pretty horrific. He lost a litre and a half of blood, had to perform first aid on himself while trying to scoop whatever bits were down there back together again and wrap them up in some format. It goes back to the same old, which is, if you're going to practice something that is safe. Doing it for real is has very different consequences. So with that, stay safe over the weekend, and with a little bit of luck, we'll pick this up once I can get one of these appendix holsters, and perhaps hopefully then we'll have our new and shiny warehouse set up as well. So thank you again for your time. Bye bye.